All right, so in light of new recent information, I went back and examined some of the earlier IP digital physics arguments, particularly the holographic principle one. You may have watched my last video. I analyzed the debate between James Fodor and Johann Ratz. And in light of that, I went back and re-examined some of the IP videos, in particular the holographic principle one. Now, the holographic principle you've probably heard of. There's a lot of different variations of this argument floating around on YouTube. What I did not know, that in light of me going back and revisiting it, it's actually, there's version that is settled science, settled physics, established fact. Yeah, I did not know that. Now I do. Like I said, though, there are a lot of different variations on this. You can look up the emergent universe, the holographic principle, is our universe a hologram? Are we living in a simulation? That's a really popular one. There's a lot of different variations on this theme out there on YouTube. But the physics underneath it, for the most part, are settled physics, settled science. So I looked up the original one, the Leonard Susskind version, and, interesting story behind it. I'll tell you the story. So once upon a time, there was a scientist named Stephen Hawking, a young ingenue, brilliant man. And he worked mostly in gravity and black holes. And he posited that information disappears into a black hole to be gone forever. Now, this got Leonard Susskind, whose work is mainly in quantum mechanics, all moist in the panties. Why did it do that? Because he introduced a paradox. And I'm not pretending that I completely understand this paradox, but this paradox was introduced. To have information disappear forever violates one of the core principles of quantum mechanics. And that principle says that information can never be destroyed. Like I said, I'm not all that sure that I fully understand this, but I can tell you basically what Leonard Susskind says on the matter. So information is a differentiation between X and Y. That differentiation is always there. Even if you have a book, right? You have a book and there's all this information in it, and I take the book and I throw it onto the fire. Hey, you burned my book. Relax. Why? Because the information is never destroyed. In principle, this is according to Susskind, this is basically established fact. So if you don't agree with this, I don't really care. I'm just telling you what is. I'm not saying I completely understand it. In principle, I could dig into those ashes, and if I had a way of reconfiguring all those ashes, I could put it all back together. The information would never be lost. So Stephen Hawking violated a core principle with his theory of quantum mechanics. And in Leonard Susskind's telling, this gets him all excited. Why? Because that introduces a paradox. And anytime you introduce a paradox into physics, that means you're on the doorstep of some type of new discovery or new way of perceiving. So they start arguing. Him and another guy start arguing with Stephen Hawking. They say, you got to be wrong. Something's got to be wrong with your interpretation, because a core principle of quantum mechanics, information can never be destroyed. And it goes on like this for a while. Come to find out that the information that is in fact disappearing into the black hole, as Stephen Hawking postulated, but the information is being kept. At the edge of a black hole, you have what is known as the event horizon. The information that is all disappearing into the black hole is, in essence, a hologram of a two-dimensional version of all of the information that stands intact at the edge of the event horizon. So that reconciles Stephen Hawking's postulate to quantum mechanics, and everything was fine. Then Leonard Susskind, upends the apple carts by going on to postulate that at the edge of our known universe, everything we are living, experiencing, eating, sleeping, touching, smelling, there is a two-dimensional representation of it, and it's being projected out from that stands at the edge of the universe. And I will add, if it's at the edge of the universe, then I'm deciding that means also the end of time. I could be wrong about that. So you understand what's happening? We are, in effect, living in some sort of version of a hologram or a holograph, and at the edge of our known universe is a two-dimensional version of everything we are, see, taste, touch, smell, being projected outward. Now, for a long time, people said to Leonard Susskind, you know, that's all well and good, Dr. Susskind, call us when the shuttle lands. Why? Because you just gone wet look crazy. Because that ain't just so. That is just nuts. There's no way on earth that's true. You one crazy mofo. You have gone too far. You have taken that one drug too many. And like I said, call us when the shuttle lands. But to save the day, along comes what according to Susskind and many people is the greatest physicist alive today. Juan Macarena, beef chimichangas and taquitos Macarenas, beef burritos supreme Macarenas. All right, so that's not exactly his name. His name is something like Juan Malcedena, something like that. But I believe he's Portuguese. He's considered by many to be the greatest physicist alive today. And he comes along and he works out the math of the holographic principle. For a long time, everyone thought Leonard Susskind was just nuts, gone too far, he's crazy. But Malcedena comes along and works out the math of the holographic principle, and lo and behold, the math, he works it out in a way that is so precise that the holographic principle is no longer questioned. It is part of established physics. Promise. That's why you see so many videos. Are we living in a hologram? Are we living in a simulated universe? Yada, yada, yada. Now, that doesn't tell us anything. The reason why I posted that particular video by Leonard Susskind, okay, is very, very important. Why? Because Leonard Susskind will tell you this in his own words. We aren't living in a hologram. It is something akin to a hologram, which means that's the closest approximation in human terms to the phenomenon. That's very important. Never forget that. Why? Because what does it actually mean? We don't know. We aren't technically in a hologram. That is a metaphor for the phenomenon. It is something akin to it. Now, at the basic level, I can pretty much prove to you that there's some variation that's absolutely true. That we live in what is we are experiencing, you know, what is in essence an illusion. I've already explained this in other videos, so it's really easy to do. I can prove that to you right now. Pick any object in your room, anyone at all, and look at it. Okay, I picked the couch in front of me. The couch is being presented to me as solid matter. I know for a fact that it is not solid matter. It is particles in motion. It is also being presented to me as white. I know for a fact that there is no intrinsic color to the couch in front of me. I am giving it the color. That is the light bouncing off of the couch and interacting with my retina. So in just those two areas, doing no more looking around, you can pick any object in your room, and you see with your own eyes that you are seeing an illusion. In essence, a hologram of the item. Why? It's an interaction of light. In essence, it's something akin to a hologram. Now, like I said before, people always get tripped out on this stuff because there's something that we need to lay hold of epistemically and understand metaphysically that we haven't quite understood yet. Like I said, at the macro level, properties hold their values. Same thing holds for idealism. Whenever I start talking about idealism, people's main objection to it is we know for a fact that the real world is actually there. And like I said, at the macro level, that is true. So for the table in front of me is there at the macro level, the properties hold their values. If I kick it, ow, I hurt my foot. But at the quantum level, that is not true at all. At the quantum level, subject and object are to some degree coupled. My interactions with the data points are entangled with the data points, and there's no disentangling them. Now, at the macro level, we are also really obviously experiencing some sort of illusion of the real world that we are interpreting for, our brains are interpreting for us in a way that is more palatable and more usable to us. More useful is most people's theory. If the reason why I always post stuff by Donald Hoffman, same idea. He says that we have on, basically we're wearing virtual reality headsets, right? And we are interpreting the data in a way that is more useful for us for evolutionary purposes. We are looking at what looks like we're being given fitness payoffs. But what's clear, what's a known fact and it's been known for a long time is we are not interpreting the world as it actually is. We are re-representing the world back to ourselves in a form that is basically an illusion. It is a re-representation of something that's not actually there. So yeah, an illusion is the correct term. Like I said, I'm looking at my couch right in front of me right now. It looks to me like solid matter and color white. It is neither of those two things. The color is not an intrinsic property of the couch. It's something I am giving it. And the solid matter, it is not. It is particles in motion. So try and imagine what the things in your room would look like if you could see them all as swirling electrons without color. Look a lot different, right? Right. So you're wearing what is in essence a virtual reality headset and interpreting the data by interacting with the light. A hologram. Kind of. Yeah, kind of, sort of. A hologram, Craig. Yeah, kind of. That's the point. Now, it isn't quite a hologram. That's what I said. And that's why I posted the video. Leonard Susskind goes into a long, I think, really lucid way of, telling you to have epistemic humility. Why? Because what it all means in a way that is coherent, how we interpret it in a way that's coherent and makes sense and usable to us, we don't yet know. That is not the purview of the physicist. Like I said, the physics are established fact. That's why I latched onto the holographic principle. I didn't realize the physics were set. The physics are set. Established fact. There's nothing to debate. I want to debate you on modern day debate, Craig. I ain't going. Why? Because there's nothing to debate. This isn't up to you and I. The physics already spoke for themselves. And as I've said many thousands of times in my video, one day all of you will recognize the wisdom of this statement. Why? The physics are facts. And the physics are so precise at this point, the mathematics is so precise, there aren't 50,000 different ways of interpreting the data points. There's roughly a handful, 4 or 5. Why? Because everything else doesn't fit. So it's something akin to a hologram. That is the purview of the metaphysician and the philosopher to come in and tell us what that exactly means. Well, what is something like a hologram? But we are experiencing something akin to a hologram, right? And everything that we see, taste, touch, and smell is in a two-dimensional form at the edge of our universe being projected outward. Something like that. That might not be the exact description of the phenomenon. Again, these are rough approximations of the phenomenon, so don't hang on the words. That's why when I was talking about my critique of James, it's really important that you not play semantics. Why? Because the semantics aren't clear. What we're exactly talking about is just the best language we have to describe phenomena that are innately mysterious. Obviously, we aren't a hologram in the real sense of the term. I'm not a beam of light being projected outward. I'm an actual human being. I'm an actual human being, I promise. Flesh and blood, real feelings from a human being. Obviously it's a close approximation of the phenomenon, the clearest possible way we can interpret it. So you can't play semantics. But what are the theological implications of it? Well, I don't know for a fact that I can do this, but if I can, game over, give me the tithes. There is a two-dimensional, all the information is in 2D at the edge of our universe being projected outward. If I can change the word information, I'm not 100% sure that I can do this, but if I can, that's it. There's nothing more to discuss. Give me the tithes, go home, atheist, call it a night. Why? Because you lost. Because it's over. It's totally over. Give me the tithes, go home. Just give me the tithes now and call it a night. If I can change the word information to intelligence, bang, game over. Think about it. Did you think about it? Think about it. If I can I don't know for a fact that I can. And I'll be looking. And like I said, there's nothing to debate. If I can, I will. And that's it. That's not quite personal God, Craig. It's not quite personal God. But wow, is that close enough? That is the phenomenon that we call God as according to the physics. If that can change the word information to intelligence, then there's an intelligence at the edge of the universe that's projecting everything we eat, sleep, taste, touch, and smell. All of the information is contained therein. That's a fact. So why that isn't a phenomenon closely akin to God, close enough that we can say that's God, I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure we're already almost there. Like I said, if you're an atheist, you might want to sit this one out. Why? Because I'm pretty sure it's over, but we'll see. You might want to just give me the tithes now and call it a night. Damn me the tithes. No, it's not personal God, whatever. I don't want to hear it. Anyways, getting back to the issue at hand. So, like I said, it is akin to a hologram. Leonard Susskind will be the first person to tell you it's not quite a hologram. We don't really know what this new phenomenon that they've discovered is, but the physics are settled fact. You can go look at Leonard Susskind's videos on this. Holographic principle, Leonard Susskind. They're easy to understand. Pretty much everything I just told you, you'll find out. All I'm doing is telling you what's what. I'm not even really interpreting. I'm just saying that looks suspicious to me, like something very close to God. If it's not quite a personal God, it's close enough to the phenomena that we can now understand why so many people believe in God. Why? Because there's something akin to a God that's part of the structure of reality itself. That's how I see it. But I'll let you decide that for yourself. I'm not pushy. I'm not pushy dog. So what I do know for a fact is that it is now the purview of the metaphysician and the philosopher to come in and interpret the data, to peruse the data and say, this is what this phenomena in fact is, and this is how we describe it in a way that is coherent and makes sense. Because right now a holograph, that doesn't quite cut it. Obviously nobody is saying that we are technically a hologram. Okay, we're not beams of light walking around. But like I said, to some degree, the world in front of us is presenting itself to us in a form that is illusion, is a total illusion. It's not what is. And Kant was correct about that. There's the noumena phenomena distinction. There's what the world actually is, and the way that we perceive it is entirely different. Donald Hoffman has taken that observation and pushed it a step further, saying it's as if we are wearing virtual reality headsets that are interpreting everything around us in a way totally different from what's actually out there. And he says we're doing that for evolutionary reasons, because we're looking for fitness payoffs, his words. Maybe that's the reason, I don't know why, but the phenomenon itself is 100% correct. There's nothing to argue, that's fact. And the physics of the holographic principle are also fact. I'm the only one so far. Pretty sure Leonard Susskind himself, I've heard him talk about things godlike, and I'm pretty sure he's not a believer. I'm the only one who says, well, that has real theological implications. Like I said, there's 50,000 different variations of this floating around on YouTube. There's, are we living in a simulation? The most famous one is by that guy who thinks some advanced race created us all in a simulation. I'm not crazy about that postulate, neither is Leonard Susskind. Why? Because it basically devolves into an infinite regress. Okay, who created that advanced situation? Who created them? Then who created that? Who created that? Who created that? But, as I explained, there are obvious theological implications to the holographic principle, at least as far as I'm concerned. And I would not have ventured into this territory if the physics weren't basically settled. The settled facts. Juan Macarena was so precise in his mathematical formulations that the position has gone from totally fringe to completely mainstream accepted. There is something akin to a hologram as part of the phenomena of reality itself. We are living in something akin to a hologram, or if you like, a simulation. Now, I think that perfectly dovetails with theism. I don't see how you could even if that's not quite a personal God as according to the Bible, which obviously it's not. I mean, it's not necessarily like, a personal God, but it's the phenomena of God clearly spelled out in the physics in a way that you can go, aha, now I understand why so many people believe in God. Why? Because there's something very closely parallel to that embedded in the nature of reality itself. There's something outside of us, extant to us, that seems to contain everything that we are, taste, touch, and smell in a, I'm not even sure if two-dimensional, I'm not even sure if 2D is the right word for, the other end of the phenomena and the holograph. That's something that's going to be talked about and discussed in the years to come, and it's going to be unpacked fully by the physicists. And I will be watching it. And like I said, there's nothing to debate on modern day debate. Why? It's not up to you and I. The physicists will settle this out first, then the philosopher, then the metaphysician comes in and goes, this is what this actually means. I'm just telling you that there seems to me at first glance, and I could be wrong about this, I'll give you that. Don't think I am, but I could be. Seems to me at first glance that there are really obvious theological implications to this. If that's not God according to the physics, it's getting close. So, there you have it, kids. That's my 2 cents for the day. I'll go into this as stuff arises, and I keep looking. I started going down this avenue now. I'm not 100% sure that I can change the word information to intelligence, but we'll see. If I can, the implications to me are obvious. So there you have it, kids. That is all for now. Try and keep these videos a little bit shorter. Mass is ended. Go in peace. Amen.